I'm going to go ahead and get everyone checked in. As I call your name, if you could confirm if you do have a name on the screen, that name is correct, and then let me know who you're representing here today, whether you're the applicant, property owner, or neighboring property owner, or someone else from the community. So I'll start with Brian Cromer. You could unmute.
Yes, I'm here representing Queen City Church and the applicant.
Okay, great. Welcome. Brian Taylor.
I'm also here and representing Queen City Church. I'm a trustee.
Okay, great. Welcome. And Michael Colosimo.
Hi, Michael Colosimo. I'm here representing Vega Americas, the property owner.
Got it. All right. On the applicant owner side, are we expecting anyone else to join us here today?
We are not.
Okay, great. All right. We also have a member of our zoning division, Matt Lashad. Welcome, Matt.
Hey, good morning. Hey, everybody.
Hi, Matt.
All right. I need to read through our hearing script, which will basically just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll get started. So this is the May 29th, 2024 session of the Zoning Hearing Examiner docket. My name, again, is David Sturkey. I'll be presiding over the hearing. The case before us today is case number ZH20240055, or I'm sorry, 0055. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any potential opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any other party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. For our purposes here today, I'll allow any of you from the applicant owner team to speak. That means one of you can speak, all of you can speak. It's really up to you how you want to orient the presentation. Just want to get some background information and understand more about what the proposal is, and then of course why you think the proposal is appropriate for me to grant. If there were anyone here from the public, they would have an opportunity to speak after you all had presented your case. I'll hear from the zoning division and Mr. Lashad to provide testimony in addition to his staff report. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut that testimony. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties with the Zoom technology, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those issues on the fly, but to the extent there's a defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with the hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay, last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, making any comments, asking any questions, really doing anything other than just strictly observing, then the zoning code requires that I swear you in. So I'll just collectively do that now. So if you intend on providing any testimony, you can take yourself off mute. Need everyone to answer out loud and to raise their right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
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 Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. All right. Who's going to be taking the lead here? Tell me about this application.
I'll take the lead.
Floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, so first, let me just begin by thanking you for your time and consideration today. Not only today, but I should also add that along the way, just the various representatives, including Matt, Cassandra, Mr. Sturkey, you as well, just been very helpful in preparing the application, so we thank you. As we stated earlier, I'm joined today by Mike Colosimo, who represents the lessor, Vegas America. They are the landlord. And then, of course, Brian Cromer is the lead pastor, founder of Queen City Church. So if there are any questions for those respective organizations, I'll just invite them to speak up. The purpose is, as our application stated, we've executed a lease with Vega Americas, but it has a 60-day contingency to secure a parking variance. We received, of course, we're all aware of the denial letter, which was warranted because the particular parcel ID that the building 4170 Rosslyn is associated with just has 77 parking spaces. So by virtue of the zoning code standard 142519, having one parking space for every 30 square feet our assembly space is 6,678 square feet. And so by statute, it's required that we have 226 parking spaces. So obviously there's a gap there of 149 spaces. The reason why we believe we should receive the parking variance, with all due respect, is that our lease agreement, which was part of our application, includes 330 parking spaces within a very short, safe walk to the actual facility where we'll be having our church services. Our church services are really just on weekends. During the weekdays, we'll have 168 spaces, but for weekends, we have, it would seem, 100 parking spaces more than the requirement. Just a very brief background in Queen City Church. We were founded about 5.5 years ago. We've been at Withrow High School. We've been a portable church. So our team has been setting up and taking down every Sunday. And so we're excited to be a little less portable. And this lease affords us that privilege. We found a great lease partner, a wonderful organization in Vega Americas. And so this facility is the answer to a 3.5-year facility search. And so with that having said, our lease agreement was executed, I believe it was April 21st or April 22nd. So we are into our 60-day contingency, right on schedule. But just a couple other things I'll add. We've reached out to the Oakley Community Council. Matt, thank you for uploading that letter, but we received their support. And we will be very committed to continuing to work with the community as we did with Withrow. Principal David Gray also supplied a support letter. He's the principal of Withrow. We've also reached out to the police department, in particular talked with Officer Holthouse of District 2 and Lieutenant Hine. And they felt like our traffic would also be easily managed because there's 2 ways of ingress and egress on the property. So we feel like we're well positioned to be a great tenant, a great neighbor, and with ample parking spaces, we are very hopeful that we can be awarded the variance. And if at all possible, both organizations have plenty of resources committed to the project at this point. If there's any way that a decision can be expedited, we would be all the more grateful.
Okay, great. Could you tell me again the number of spaces that will be available for you via the lease on a weekday and on the weekends?
Yeah, I've got the lease here, but it's 330 spaces are, and by the way, I should mention, is it okay to call you David or Mr. Sir?
Sure. Yeah.
David. Yeah. There are 330 spaces, so that's nearly all of the parking spaces on their campus. There were a few fenced-in parking lots that Vega will maintain strictly off limits for us. And then during the week, for just various purposes, each weekday we would have 168 spaces.
Got it. Okay. And on the weekends, you said it was more like 330?
330, that's correct.
Okay, got it. All right, great. And those are all on that campus there, those sort of
Yeah, that's correct.
buildings that are adjacent to one another there with all the parking.
That's correct. You know, a very short, safe walk to the facility that we'll use for our Sunday services.
Okay, great. I don't think I have any more questions right now. Is there anything else you'd like to say at this time?
No, not really. Again, just grateful to be considered, and certainly if you have any questions for Vega or Queen City Church, I know either of Mike or Brian would be happy to respond.
Sure. I don't think I have any other questions right now. Is there anything, Brian or Michael, that you wanted to add before I turned it over to Matt Lashad? No? Okay.
No.
All right, great. Matt, anything you want to add to the conversation here?
Yeah, thank you. I agree with everything Mr. Taylor said. This variance is really just necessary because of the strict intricacies within the zoning code. The applicant, within their campus, they meet the parking requirements. There just happen to be some property lines running between the different lots. And, we briefly discussed other options. They could consolidate all of the parcels, but then if they did that, you would have 3 principal structures on a lot, which is not permitted in the zoning code. It's basically you're not supposed to do that. And so a variance would be needed to have ample parking, but they meet the requirement through their lease, which is, legally adopted as a part of them moving in. I would add it's actually kind of a best practice what's being proposed here as we talk about long-term changes to the zoning code and modifying our parking requirements. Sometimes people ask, well, what if there were not parking requirements? What other options would there be? And sometimes I'll bring up in conversation, imagine there's an office building that's next to a church, and the office needs its parking lot Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the church needs parking in the evenings on the weekdays sometimes, and mostly on Sundays. Those 2 uses could share a parking lot. They don't necessarily both need to have their own parking lot. And this is a perfect example of that. The applicant's done a good job of demonstrating that they meet the requirement, although not strictly in the way that the zoning code would ask. They do meet it through an easement, or I guess it's through their lease. And so with that, staff is supportive of the variance, and we recommend approval.
Okay, great. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate your testimony and your work on the staff report. Okay, I also still don't have any questions, so I'll turn it back over to the applicants. Anything you'd like to say in closing or otherwise before we adjourn here today?
Nothing else to add from this end. Again, we're very grateful for all the professionalism, the courtesy that's been extended at each interaction. And if possible, if a decision could be expedited, we would greatly welcome that. But that's the extent of my comments today, Dave. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. I've had a chance to review the application materials, the staff report. Based on that, based on the testimony that I've heard here today, which I agree with across the board, I am going to approve the application. I need to formalize that approval in a written decision. I mentioned at the beginning, it takes about 2 weeks. I will do everything I can to get that out to you as quickly as possible. I don't know if just having the verbal recognition now that it will be approved helps at all in terms of the request to expedite. But the official decision that will allow Matt to approve the permitting on his end, I will get that out to you as quickly as I can.
David, when you get to my age, you appreciate having the suspense removed from the equation. So the verbal approval is greatly appreciated.
Sure, of course. Well, if you guys have any questions or just want a status update on the formal decision, feel free to reach out to me directly. Happy to provide that to you. Otherwise, let me know if you have any other questions. And good luck with the project. Good luck with the new site. Hope everything goes well. That's it.
Thanks so much.
Guys.
Thanks,
Awesome. Thank you, David.